Back in May, Trump lit a fire under Apple's billion-dollar throne, and it wasn't just a warning shot. He basically gave them a $22 billion ultimatum. Bring jobs and manufacturing back to America or pay the price. And what unfolded was the art of the deal in live real time. And I can't wait to show you that today. This is Andy with TrendingPolitics.com. Hit like, subscribe, and let's walk through the genius of Donald Trump.
President Trump threatening tech giant Apple with 25% duties on overseas-made iPhones. Trump saying on a Truth Social post that he expects Apple's iPhones to, quote, be manufactured and built in the United States, not India or anyplace else. But it's now only Apple that faces this tariff threat. The president sharing further details in a press conference earlier this afternoon.
It would be more. It would be also Samsung and anybody that makes that product. Otherwise, it wouldn't be fair. So anybody that makes that product, and that'll start on, I guess, the end of June. It'll come out. I think we have that appropriately done by the end of June.
Trump wasn't bluffing. He hit Apple where it hurts with a 25% tariff threat that doesn't just stop at them. He dragged in Samsung and every other offshore tech giant right into the crosshairs. And you want access to the American market? Then build in America. And if you don't, Trump's going to make sure you bleed for it.
President Trump is ramping up his tariff threats on social media. The latest target on Apple had alerts ringing and Wall Street spinning. The Dow dropped 0.6% yesterday. Shares of Dow component Apple fell 3% after the president's post that phones sold in America should be made in America. The S&P and NASDAQ also tumbled, and today the president is in West Point.
So Apple shares tumbled 2.6%, and that was just the start. The shockwaves really ripped through the broader market, and investors weren't just reacting to Apple. They knew the stakes were much higher. Because here's the deal. Apple isn't just the biggest tech company in North America. They're bigger than every other company on every continent. This chart here says it all. In Europe, Apple dwarfs LVMH. In Asia, even Saudi America comes in second. In Oceania, South America, and Africa, nothing comes close. So when Trump takes aim at Apple, he's not just challenging one company. He's shaking the core of the entire global economy. And that's exactly what happened. Apple makes most of its iPhones in China, but they've been quietly shifting production in India to try to avoid Chinese tariffs. And over half the iPhones sold in the US right now today are currently made in India. Apple CEO Cook even said that they would increase the Indian production by about 65% this fall. But Trump just closed that loophole. Here's what he said. He said, I have long ago informed Tim Cook of Apple that I expect their iPhones that will be sold in America, the United States of America, will be manufactured and built in the United States of America, not India or any place else. And if that's not the case, a tariff of at least 25% must be paid by Apple to the U.S. Thank you for your attention on this matter. When he said not India or any place else, Trump wants iPhone production right here on American soil. But the biggest backlash to that is that a lot of industry analysts are calling this demand a fairy tale, saying that America doesn't even have the resources to do this.
So basically, Major, what he's trying to do is to pressure Apple to move its production to the U.S. more or less immediately, even though Apple CEO Tim Cook has said time and time again that, first of all, the U.S. simply doesn't have the pool of skilled workers with the particular skills needed to make the iPhone in numbers large enough to be able to make millions of iPhones here in the United States. And outside analysts have estimated that making the iPhone in the U.S., even if that workforce was available, would end up tripling the cost for American customers from, let's say, $1,000 right now up to $3,000 or even $3,500.
So basically what Trump's demanding is immediate iPhone production right here on U.S. soil. But Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, has been blunt that America doesn't even have the skilled labor to do that at scale. And even if we did, analysts say it would triple or quadruple the cost of an iPhone from $1,000 to over $3,500. And you can imagine how fast that would crater sales. So yeah, the pressure is real. But guess what? Apple caved.
Our Steve Kovac joins us to discuss. Steve, really interesting, and I would argue new color from the secretary on that investment and how the administration sort of sees a manufacturing renaissance.
What they are doing is building a manufacturing facility down in Houston, Texas, where they're going to be building some AI servers that help power Apple Intelligence. That is happening. Those servers were previously being made overseas, and now they're bringing that over here. And then on the robotics front, I know there's just a ton of energy and excitement around these humanoid robotics. It's not just what Tesla is doing. There are a number of startups working on it. There's Boston Dynamics, of course, but that technology is so far away from being able to replace workers on the factory floor. Sure, we might get there at some point. I know there's a lot of optimism around Tesla's Optimus robot that eventually it will get there.
So Apple announced a $500 billion investment in U.S. manufacturing over 4 years. They're building a 250,000 square foot factory in Houston for servers. But meanwhile, Trump's negotiation tactics are working.
Donald Trump is also threatening to impose a 50% tariff on the European Union. The US president took to social media expressing his frustration with the lack of progress in trade talks. He says the EU is trying to take advantage of the United States, adding that discussions are at a stalemate. The US president is also taking aim at Apple, threatening the company with an import tax of 25% unless their iPhones are made in America.
The European Union, I mean, the sole purpose was really to, not to hurt us, but to take advantage of us, and we're not going to be taking
Mr. President,
I had an understanding with him that he wouldn't be doing this. He said he's going to India to build plants. I said, that's okay to go to India, but you're not going to sell into here without tariffs. We're talking about the iPhone now, and, you know, the iPhone, if they're going to sell it in America, I want it to be built in the United States.
So this hasn't been just about trade. It was about reshaping the entire global manufacturing process, and other companies are already responding.
Today, Taiwan Semiconductor is announcing that they will be investing at least $100 billion in new capital in the United States over the next short period of time to build state-of-the-art semiconductor manufacturing facilities. I think mostly it's going to be in Arizona, which is what I understand. The most powerful AI chips in the world will be made right here in America, and it'll be a big percentage of the chips made by his company. But as you know, they're based mostly in Taiwan, and they're far and away the biggest. There's nobody even close. This $100 billion in new investment will go into building 5 cutting-edge fabrication facilities in the great state that we just discussed, Arizona, and will create thousands of jobs, many thousands of jobs, and the high-paying jobs. In total, today's announcement brings Taiwan Semiconductor investments to about $165 billion they've started already.
So this isn't just about Apple. This is about the future of American manufacturing. If you want to buy in America and you want to sell in America and you want to be benefiting from the American economy, you darn well better make sure that your products are made here. This is Donald Trump's genius in action, and I, for one, am glad that I voted for Donald Trump second term. This is Andy with TrendingPolitics.com. Make sure you subscribe, like, share for more. I'll see you next time.